Darkside, man. And like, man, you're like, this is like this is like this is like a whole new way of seeing horror movies, right? Like seriously, this is George Romero. This is 1983. It goes for 5 years. It's like 90 episodes, and this is like Night of the Living Dead. So they kind of set it off. In a way where they were being very, very decisive about defining what kind of horror that they would be, right? They decided that they would be a whole new, different type of horror, right?
That is correct.
Exactly, like a whole new type of horror that they introduced. And George Romero himself, I will talk about George Romero at some point because he's also like a super impactful guy. Like what he did, is also very important. So I will talk about George Romero's work overall, and but by the time we get to this mythologies, right, like Tales from the Darkside, man, we're on a whole nother level. At least I start to feel like I felt like I said, there was that scariness that it gave that was it was just different, man. It was raw. It was 100% raw. And their most famous tales, like they did such a brilliant job of kind of mixing in like modern like it went on some modern themes, but some real like visually scarier manifestations. We didn't see stuff like Tales from the Darkside. So it's 1983, and this is like the spiritual, like from Creepshow. Again, like the OG was Creepshow. Like this is a successor to Creepshow. And Creepshow actually is kind of deserving of its own mention. I'll have to break Creepshow down because it 100% deserves it. Creepshow is definitely a different type of show, and this is the extension. This is the successor to Creepshow, but it was a more like, instead of like just like a abstract reality, like the Twilight Zone is all abstraction and like irony and like karmic energy and stuff like that. For a large part, it was very psychological, and it picked at you. And it would, like I said, we watched it break William Shatner down. Like it did. We literally watched William Shatner get broken down by that whole Gremlin episode, right? This isn't Pennywise, but it is psychological attack. So that's really like one of the big things. Like we're seeing a psychological attack early on when we're talking about early Twilight Zone. George Romero he takes a supernatural world existing alongside of our world. And there's no liminal space. Like he builds this world, like his opening line for Tales from the Darkside. This will give us a big insight, right? Man lives in the sun-lit world of what he believes to be reality, but there is an unseen by most an underworld. So right off the bat, this is two parallel worlds that exist. We are kind of uniquely tied to this world, and while they say it's not necessarily evil, they say it's not evil, but it kind of feels insidious to me. Right? It does feel that you have like monsters and like weird, like it is very Predator. So in this world, you get all kinds of stuff, right? You get witches, you get ghosts, you get demons, you get vampires, you get cursed objects, monsters, magical creatures, and supernatural beings. So right off the bat, what you get in comparison to Twilight Zone is very different. So this is an expanded world of creatures. And these stories feel like more like urban legends than anything else. So it's a kind of horror that finds like, it's a mysteriousness about it that you regret later. Like you see something and you're like, what is this? And then you regret whatever you did later on. It was at the carnival, right? It was at the fairgrounds. It was all around you. It was a lot more cultural. And it focuses on this like creeping dead. So there's a lot of like the dead coming back. And we kind of see it, and it's interesting because it's kind of a whole, right? Like it doesn't give you anything back. You don't get a host or anything like that. So it's almost like you're just kind of vibing off yourself in this, or the void. So you do kind of feel like you're walking into this void. And all like their biggest episodes, like, you know, you got a lot of like folklore tales mixing that. You have a man discovers a strange creature live inside of a hotel closet that he had befriends. You have the artist who, you know, befriends or falls in love with what he thinks is a woman, but it's some type of, you know, demonic succubus. He has children with her. You know, it's all these tales, all these cultural impact tales. They're very graphic, so it stands out in a whole different world, right? Like it is